Hello everyone. Um, Today we are going to discuss helium neon laser. As we have discussed in our previous lecture about ruby laser. So ruby laser, that was the first laser in the market which was discovered in 1960. Now after 1 year, the next laser, the second laser that was discovered, and still this laser is most popular laser in the market, and this laser is helium neon laser. So helium neon laser, as the name suggests, that this helium neon laser, that is a gas laser. Gas laser, why this is gas laser? Because its active medium is in gaseous state. So in helium neon laser, basically there are two neutral gases, and those two neutral gases, they are going to participate in light amplification. So that is the reason this helium neon laser is known as a gas laser. So first, some general features of helium neon laser are mentioned over here. It is a gas laser. Second one, this helium neon laser, that is a 4-level laser. Why this is a 4-level laser? As we have already discussed that if 3 energy states are participating in light amplification, then that is known as a 3-level laser. If 4 states are participating, then that is known as a 4-level laser. Since the 4 energy states will actually participate in light amplification here, so that is the reason this helium neon laser is known as a 4-level laser. Next point is the output of this laser, that is in continuous mode, means from helium neon laser you will get the continuous output. As you have discussed in case of ruby laser, that you will get a short pulse of laser beam, then for a particular duration there is no output. It means you will get the output in the form of short pulses in ruby laser, whereas in helium neon laser you will always get the continuous output. Reason is you can maintain that population inversion in helium neon laser, so continuously output can be obtained from this laser. Next point is the output of this helium neon laser, that is in visible range of electromagnetic spectrum. In ruby laser the output was 6943 angstrom. Here the output is the main intense lines or the main photons which are obtained in case of helium neon laser, that is of wavelength 6328 angstrom. So these are some general features of helium neon laser. Now one by one we will discuss construction, working with the help of energy level diagram and application of this ruby laser. So the first one is construction. As we know, in the construction of any laser system, 3 essential components or 3 main components are involved. The first component is known as active medium. So the active medium of this gas laser is basically a mixture of helium and neon gases. So there is a mixture of 2 neutral gases, helium and neon, and these 2 gases, they are enclosed in a glass discharge tube in a ratio of 7:1. Means if there are 7 parts of helium, then there will be 1 part of neon. So the ratio of helium and neon, that is 7:1, and these 2 gases, they are enclosed in this discharge tube at a fixed pressure, that is 1 mm of mercury. So the active medium, as you know, the active medium, that is a collection of atoms, ions or molecules. So here you have a collection of neutral atoms of 2 different gases, helium gas and neon gas. Then the second component of any laser system is, essential component is a pumping source. So the pumping source which is used in case of helium neon laser, that is electric discharge pumping. Basically all type of gas lasers, they are using this electric discharge pumping in order to get that population inversion state. But in addition to that electric discharge pumping, there is one more method, one more pumping is involved in this laser, and that pumping is known as atom-atom collision pumping. It means in this helium neon laser, the 2 processes, the 2 methods, they will help to achieve population inversion. The first one is electric discharge pumping and the other one is atom-atom collision pumping. And this atom-atom collision pumping, that is possible only in those laser systems where we have 2 different type of atoms. So here we have 2 different type of atoms in the active medium. One is helium and the other one is neon. Now the third component essential component is resonant cavity. So in this discharge tube, at the two ends, you have two mirrors. This one end is fully reflecting end, means no photon can escape from here, and the other end is partially reflecting. So the combination of these two mirrors, that will form a resonant cavity here. So these are the three essential components. You have a gas discharge tube in which a mixture of two neutral gases, helium and neon, are taken at a ratio of 7:1 at a fixed pressure. And then there are two pumping methods. Two processes are involved in order to achieve population inversion. One is electric discharge pumping, and the second one is atom-atom collision pumping. And the third one, that is resonant cavity. So basically there are two ends. The two ends of that discharge tube are reflecting. One is fully reflecting and other one is partially reflecting. And as you know, that the output of any laser system, that is obtained from partially reflecting end. So you will get the output from this partially reflecting end. So laser beam is obtained from this end. So this is construction. Now the next one is, we will try to understand the working of this laser with the help of this energy level diagram. So in the energy level diagram, we have two different atoms basically. We have helium atoms here, and also there are neon atoms. So now first I would like to address this question, that why we are using a mixture of two gases. Actually in helium neon laser, the neon atoms, they are actually involved in lasing. The light amplification that will take place in case of neon atoms. If the light amplification will take place in case of neon, then why we are using helium? What is the use of using helium there? So the answer is like this. The reason is this. Since helium is lighter as compared to neon, and the direct excitation of helium to high energy state, that is very easy as compared to the excitation of neon atoms to high energy state. So easily those helium atoms, they can be pumped to high energy state as compared to neon atoms. And helium atoms, they are lighter as compared to neon. And a very important reason is this, that the energy level of helium, this energy level, it is having energy approximately 20.61 electron volt. This energy level is having energy very close to the energy of neon, that is 20.66 electron volt. These energy states, they are very close to each other. So there can be a easy transfer of energy from one type of atom, from helium to neon. Helium can easily transfer its energy to neon. So actually what is going on there? We have two different type of atoms there, A and B. So initially the first type of atoms, that is A type of atoms, they will move to higher energy state due to electric discharge pumping. Means due to electric discharge pumping, the first type of atom, they are moving to higher energy state. Then these excited first type of atoms, they will help to achieve population inversion in second type of atoms. Meaning is, first type of atoms are helium atoms. These helium atoms, they will move to high energy state with the help of electric discharge pumping. Then those excited atoms, helium atoms, they will help to achieve population inversion for neon. Because the energy level of helium and neon, those energy levels are very close to each other. So that is the reason we are using only helium along with neon in case of helium neon laser. So now I will explain this working process of this helium neon laser. So initially, here you can see these red dots, they are helium atoms, and with these neon dots, I am representing neon atoms. So since the ratio of helium and neon is 7:1, it means the population of helium is greater as compared to population of neon. So when you are providing energy through this electric discharge pumping, means there are two electrodes and you are going to apply a voltage between those two electrodes. So when electric discharge pumping means you are going to connect two electrodes there. One is cathode and other one is anode, and then a voltage will be applied between these two. Then electrons will start accelerating. Electrons will start moving inside this discharge tube. Means when the electric discharge that will start flowing inside this active medium, then the electrons which are accelerated, which are moving, which are having kinetic energy, those electrons, they can collide with helium as well as neon. But you know, the population of helium is greater here as compared to neon. It means the possibility of interaction, the possibility of collision of those electrons due to electric discharge with helium is greater as compared to neon. So the first transition or the first interaction which will be highlighted in that active medium, that will be electric discharge pumping transition for helium atoms from this ground state to this excited state. So the first transition will take place when accelerated electrons, they are going to collide with helium atoms. So that will be electric discharge pumping, and because of that transition, helium atoms, they will gain energy and they will move to this high energy state which is having this much energy, 20.61 electron volt. Now see, in this active medium, the population of helium atoms which are in this excited state, highly energetic state, now their population is higher. Now these excited helium atoms, they are moving inside this active medium, and when they are moving, they will interact with unexcited neon atoms. And when these excited helium atoms, they are colliding with unexcited neon atoms, they are giving their energy to these neon atoms. There will be an inelastic collision between these two different type of atoms, helium with neon, and helium is going to transfer their energy to neon. So the second transition, that will be atom-atom collision pumping. The second transition is atom-atom collision pumping, where excited helium atoms, they are giving their energy to neon, and neon will reach into this particular state. Now you have neon atoms in this excited state, whereas this metastable state, which is close to this one, it is ideally empty or few atoms are there. So as soon as the transition, as soon as this atom-atom collision pumping will take place, as soon as you will get few neon atoms in this high energy state, you will get population inversion. And after achieving population inversion, a few neon atoms, they will complete their lifetime here, and they will automatically come down to this particular state with energy 18.70 electron volt. So when they will come down, they will emit photons due to spontaneous emission. And these photons, they will start moving inside the active medium. And when they are moving between these two reflectors, then they will interact with more excited neon atoms. And because of that interaction, these neon atoms, because of that interaction of photons with the neon atoms, stimulated emission transitions will be triggered, and the multiplication of a photon, that particular process will start. One photon will convert into two will convert into four, and those photons, they will keep on moving within the active medium, and the multiplication of photons will go on. And when the energy of those photons, that will become very high, then those photons, they are going to escape from this partially silvered end. So now you can see here the two energy states of helium are involved and two states of neon are involved here. So when these neon atoms, they will come down to this state. Now this state is having a very small lifetime. These neon atoms from here, they will come down to this particular state, and then these neon atoms, they will come down to ground state of neon, and this process will go on. And this population inversion state, which is there between these two states of neon, this population inversion state, that can be maintained continuously, and you will get the continuous output from this helium neon laser. So this is a working process. So if I will conclude all these transitions here, then the first transition is electric discharge pumping transition, which is for helium atoms here. Second one is, that is a collision between excited helium atoms with unexcited neon atoms. Then the third one is spontaneous emission. Next one is stimulated emission, which you also represent as a laser transition. Then the next one is a spontaneous emission transition from this state to this state. Then the next one is a radiation-less transition from this state to ground state of neon. So this is the working process. Now this helium neon laser, that is much more superior than ruby laser. The first reason is that you can easily achieve this population version state here, and you can maintain that population version state for a long duration in this for a infinitely long time. So the operating lifetime of this helium neon laser is much higher than the operating lifetime of ruby laser. A very small pumping power is required to achieve population version state, and the efficiency of this helium neon laser is much more than the efficiency of ruby laser. So since it is easy to achieve, it is easy to maintain population version in helium neon laser, it is the output is in continuous mode as compared to ruby laser. So this helium neon laser is superior to ruby laser in depending upon different parameters. Now this helium neon laser that is having application in different fields, like helium neon lasers, they are used in case of as you have seen, traffic police, they are using laser to track the speed of moving vehicles. So this helium neon laser is used here. This helium neon laser is also used in case of material processing for laser cutting, welding and drilling. And this helium neon laser that is also used in medical industry just to stimulate the nerves in patients of paralysis. So there are different applications of this gaseous laser in different fields. Thank you.